Afternoon all. I've been having some thoughts that I want to share with you just recently about how to repeat successfully chess heuristics. So our own chess heuristics. I'll try and give some examples, not full examples, but if we went back to 1989, I won actually the Lloyds Bank Junior tournament. I beat 3 players who were much higher rated than me, about over 190 ECF. Poulton, I think, was my first game, and I remember it being a Nimzo Indian with I was forcing the issue with A3 and I got the bishop pair, and later somehow, actually I think he castled queenside. Unfortunately I don't have the game scores, but the reason I'm taking you this far, it was this kind of variation in the Nimzo Indian and I was white, is I just wanted to show you that well, I had the bishop pair, and the heuristic that I was fond of at this time was very, very simple. It was about using the best resources around squares of the opponent's king. That idea was giving me good results, but my thoughts are that you know, we're not computer programs. We can't repeat the same software, and even computer programs, computers move on, operating systems move on. You could write a computer program in BBC Basic or Spectrum and it doesn't exist anymore. So things move on, the context moves on, and you know, Fischer could beat someone in the Benoni in 1972. He could beat Spassky, but the Benoni now has been much greater analysed. Would Fischer beat a 2700 player armed to the teeth with anti-Benoni theory nowadays? The whole thing moves on, and maybe our past heuristics, you need to factor in at least the opening that you used and the time limit, and then also, of course, you know, how much energy you had for the game, calculation. Why do a lot of chess players retire, you know, after 40? They don't carry on and on because also, you know, things like tiredness calculation comes in. So the strategies that they might have relied on, the central strategies, more generic strategies, not just specific calculations, would they continue to work as effectively? Things move on. But my thoughts were, you know, regarding tournaments where one is successful, to not just, you know, try and factor in what strategies you used, so at least try and maximize the potential for successfully reusing heuristics. You'd have to know, you know, what was it about the openings which enabled your strategy to be more effective. So in this example, it might have been the 2 bishops, and in the third round, well, in the second round I think I played Foister. In the third round, Michael Harris. In the fourth round, I think I might have played Heuristics, a good friend, Alex Heuristics, and the fifth round, Brown. It was only a 5-round tournament, but in the third round game, I think I played Benoni against Harris to draw, and a sort of safe treatment of the Benoni, not immediately going for the Benoni. I think I might have played D6. It was a recommendation, and I prompted this, and then later I kind of played for E6 later. Anyway, so but the Benoni would have given me an E-file, dark square play, and certain trump cards. And I mentioned, you know, the purpose of openings is to kind of often to, you know, to give you trump cards. But then at the time, interestingly, I was also factoring in this book called Chess for Tigers, which indicated this kind of black box approach to choosing openings, to list down the openings you were most successful in statistically, wins, draws, losses. And I was using that, and I think if you are using a kind of rule of thumb strategy or a bias, then you will try and, with that approach, you will find openings, I suspect eventually, which fit in more with that strategy. So if you have a keenness for closed positions and slowly building up pressure, then the King's Indian, for example, fits in with that for kind of a slow build-up. In the mainline King's Indian, you might have a slow build-up. So basically, so what I'm trying to say is that when you look back on your past successes, the actual context in terms of, you know, how much energy you had at the time, the openings and all that, I think really need to be factored in. So you can't just have the heuristics you used in isolation. So I don't know, that's the strange kind of thinking I've been thinking recently, because also I've mentioned, you know, in the blitz, in the 5-minute blitz, the shocking thing about this year was I reached you know, my peak all-time rating on 5 minutes on the ICC, and there was a kind of heuristic about access paths, but that would, I think that really only works for blitz time limits, where really, you know, you want to try and get attacking paths to the opponent's king and put pressure on the opponent, and you're not really looking, for example, critically at any of your opponent's moves. You're trying to play aggressively all the time, and that might be ideal for blitz chess. But again, you see, your heuristics, they need to factor in the openings that you're using and the time limit and other factors to make them more repeatable. But then again, you know, we're not computers, so we can't really guarantee that our strategies, even though they were successful in the past, will continue to be successful in the future. But we can try and shape all the other influencing factors as well. You know, try to get a good advantage which really fits your style from the opening. That's a key one. Try and be energetic before the game to calculate as much as you need to. You know, not be too tired for games. So I just thought I'd let you know this. It's a bit of an abstract waffle video, I know, and if some of you get something from it, then that's great. It's just some food for thought. So trying to recreate success of past games, maybe, you know, treat the examples and look at the elements of the examples as well as being important to what you thought was important. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.